All right,
Yeah,
cool.
should we be looking at each other?
There we go. Hey, hey. Yeah, actually, I set it up this way because when I look at my camera, it's on my right-hand side. So, like, when I look
Perfect.
over, I'm like, "Hey, hey, buddy, how you doing?" "Shut up, Mister Play Games." They say, "Now kiss." Mwah. Okay, so, first of all, let's say hello to everybody out there, and let's do some little introductions just in case there's anyone in the chat who doesn't know who this guy or me guy is. So, as the guest, I'm gonna let Mike go first. Mike, why don't you tell us who you are and a little bit about what you do on the internet and this whole thing.
I'm Salty Mike. I stream Starset. I've been streaming. Next month. I've been partnered for 11 years, so streaming for 12.
Hell yeah.
And YouTube, I don't know how long, but mostly just talking about what I like about video games and how to apply that to the game that we're covering, Star Citizen, right? So I've played a lot of, maybe not a lot of MMOs, but I've played a lot of time in MMOs in my life. And if this game's going to be an MMO, it's got to look a lot different than the way it looks now. So a lot of talk about that. And yeah, that's mostly what I've done. Just the game's kind of the background and having a good time, laughing at our unfortunate situation sometimes as much as possible and making light of it, as well as being frustrated by it and just, yeah, having fun.
Cool. There we go. So that's a little bit about Mike. And a little bit about me is I'm Ender, go by Enderprize online. I'm a former full-time touring artist and music teacher who became a streamer through the world of my students being, hey, you'd be good at this job. Why don't you try it? And then COVID lockdowns began actually making revenue during this. And as soon as I
Yeah.
hit the same amount of money as an online music teacher as online content creator, that's when I went, okay, now it's time to go all in on this and see where we can go with it. And that was 2020 after 2 years of streaming when I made the choice to go full time with this situation. And my live stream content is primarily a mix of Star Citizen space gaming and live music breaks, both
Yeah.
on the drums and on keys. And I have a heavy emphasis on production techniques and live stream technology. That's a big passion of mine in this, other than just the game that I love, the actual like art of I'm a person on camera and I share with you how can I do that to the highest possible quality and whatnot. So
Yeah. It's a sick setup.
thank you. This is my third studio that I've built. And it's easily the best one that I've built yet in terms of the technical side of things. And it's actually, this might not happen. I was talking to Chad about it today, but it might be getting a big quality upgrade coming up in the next 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
So AMD is one of the partners I've worked with since 2021, and every year
Mhm.
I have pitched to them, "Can you help me build a Threadripper system to push the quality even higher?" And every year they say no, but last week they said yes.
Whoa. Okay.
So it's the beginning of something. You know, you've gotten plenty of deals over the years that like didn't happen until like a written contract was there. So I don't want to get too excited yet, but I have high hopes for this, and I'm already dreaming about what I can do with a computer like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, and being able to upgrade in this day and age is gotta feel good
Oh
because
yeah,
it's not possible
no,
for most.
dude, I'm still running a 5950X stream machine that I built in 2020. It still
Yep.
works for the
I'm still
stream.
AM4.
Yeah,
Same thing, both
yeah,
computers.
exactly.
Yep.
All
That's it.
right.
We're not going anywhere for a while.
All right, cool. Well, Mike, I just want to say thanks so much for being here. It's kind of cool and different. I used to do a lot of on-stream collabs,
Yep.
Like I think almost every month I had one, but over the last couple years I have really stopped in a lot of
Any reason
ways.
why?
It's just the busyness of the job and
Yeah.
the lifestyle, you know? Like,
Yeah.
how many times did you and I just like haphazardly talk about doing this over the past like 6 months or whatever? Like, there's been quite
Yeah.
a few little haphazard announcements or questions or whatever, but it's just we're so busy. At least I
Yeah.
am.
I'm not. You just say when. We'll make
Okay.
it figure it out.
I feel like I am just running under a shot clock in everything I do in life all of the time. But that's okay.
That's not why we're supposed to be content creators supposed to give you time, I thought. Turns out that doesn't happen.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot, but you know, I
Yeah.
still I still really like what's happening. And for me, this job was kind of like I've never thought about doing this. Like I was not a kid. Well, first of all, when you and I were kids, this job didn't
Yeah.
exist. But
Of course not, no.
even as like 20 somethings, like this was not a job that I ever considered. I kind of fell into it. And I'm the kind of person who's like, well, here's an opportunity that is rare and unique. I'm going to run with it and see what happens.
Oh, dude, I'm different. The what I found Twitch in oh god, 2012 whenever it first became Twitch from Justin
Justin
TV.
TV. Oh,
Yeah.
I
So, like, I
think
never watched Justin TV. It was Twitch at this time. My brother was a huge StarCraft player and was showing me StarCraft streams and how trolly the chat was, and
2014 is when it shut down. 20,
okay, well, but when was it called Twitch? Because I streamed it before 2014.
oh, I think Justin TV was fully killed at 20. Someone chat, look it up for us. Keep going. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it was like 2012. Like, I found it before I found Star Citizen, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The first game I streamed was Ultima Online. That was the MMO I was playing. And yeah, I was just like, this is so fun and cool, and I was into it from the beginning. And even though nobody was making a living doing it, some people were making some good money by like 2013, 2014. And I was like, I want to do this. I mean, I was a poker dealer, so I was making. I mean, I don't know if people know poker dealers make pretty darn good money, but it's a really unhappy place to be. And I was like, I want to be in this happy place. I don't care if I make a little less or whatever. Like, if I could do comparable, I'm in. And similar to you, it was, I can't remember. I've been full time 3 years. So I think 2023, 2022, somewhere around there was when I went full time. And yeah, it was when I was going to work and it was costing me money because I had to do a ad read or something. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't think I need to do this anymore. And I went from 5 days a week to 4 days a week to 3 days a week to 2 days a week. And then I was like, I'm done. And yeah, here we are.
Cool. That's really interesting. I didn't know that you worked in like casinos.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was in Atlantic. Like, I grew up in New Jersey. We're
Oh, Atlantic
sort of
City.
neighbors.
Okay.
So I was in North Jersey. Like, I could see the New York City skyline from where I grew up, but
Hmm.
I went to Atlantic City to deal poker. And I moved to Florida in 2009 to open a casino down here because they were
Okay.
giving us like benefits and good stuff. And I've been here ever since.
Cool.
Staying warm until this week. It wasn't warm at all.
I mean, yeah. When you mentioned Atlantic City, I've had quite a few shows in Atlantic City over the years.
Yep.
Um,
I worked at the Showboat. I mean, that's probably a good rock spot.
oh,
So
okay.
you might have
The
been there.
Showboat. I don't know
Yeah.
that one. My
Oh, it's closed a while ago.
oh, okay. My old band was called Rebuilder, pop punk band from Boston, Massachusetts. We
Nice.
played a show in Atlantic City at a club called Le Grand Fromage,
Okay.
the big cheese.
Yeah.
In like, oh wow, one of my chat was like Le Grand Fromage incoming.
Yeah, they're on
Yes,
top
you
of
already know. So
it.
so basically, we played there in maybe 2015 or maybe
Hmm.
2014. Yeah, 2014, I think. And the show was so bad for so many reasons. Like the stage was separating Like it was not sealed. Like the boards.
That sounds like Atlantic City.
The boards
Oh,
are coming
yeah.
apart. The
Yep.
the car broke down on the way to the
Yep.
gig on the side of the Jersey Turnpike, and you can't just call any tow truck. You have to have the special Jersey Turnpike crew.
Yep.
And then after the show, the radio in the van broke and we couldn't listen to music on the drive home back to Boston. My bass player almost quit the band because he was so upset about everything. And my singer, Craig, wrote a song, and the main lyric is, "Anything's better than New Jersey." And that became the biggest song the band ever did. And it's in
Everyone hates New Jersey, of
Yeah.
course.
And then that song got put in the Clerks 3 movie by Kevin
Get
Smith
outta here.
a couple years ago.
That's awesome.
Because-
Okay, that's awesome.
Because he's a Jersey guy and he found the
Oh, yeah.
humor in it. So when you watched Clerks 3, there's the scene where I forget which character, Dante or I forget who, is in the hospital. And there's kind of a heartfelt scene of him in the hospital. And the song playing in the background has me playing organ. That's our song, Le Grand Fromage.
Sick.
So that's
That's
my
sick.
Jersey connection story. All right.
No, that's awesome.
I want to take that right into a question. I did prepare 4
Okay.
questions for it. 5.
Yep.
5 questions, chat. You can judge me on how good my questions are. Question 1 is for you, Mike. What initially got you into video games?
Oh,
Like reach back.
I mean, I had Nintendo. I think it was like your parents just getting you Nintendo when you were a kid, right? So it was like the new cool thing. And then my little brother, who was 6 years younger than me,
Mhm.
was like obsessed. Like wasn't even really playing, but wouldn't let go of the controller, wouldn't come and eat, like stuff like that. So they just got rid of the Nintendo, and I didn't play for a while, from Nintendo to PlayStation 2. So that was like my thing, but we had a computer. So I played games like Commander Keen.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of some of the other things.
Leisure Suit
And-
Larry, maybe? I don't know.
No,
Too
not
adult.
that
Too
one.
adult.
Yeah. But I had a friend whose dad was a PC builder. So this will tie into one of the other questions.
Okay.
I would go to his house and play, and we would play Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2,
Mhm.
some flight sims, and some other games. And yeah, so I would always go to his house. We'd have sleepovers and we'd just play games all the time. So that was like where I really found my roots in gaming. And
Probably like what?
Warcraft 2
Like teenage years?
on
Like
my Mount Rushmore.
how old are you in this story? 15?
Middle school.
Oh, okay.
No, younger, middle school. So
12?
like 12 to
Yeah.
14. Yeah.
Got it. So that's interesting because you got into PCs significantly earlier than me in this story.
Yeah.
Because
I just had that friend with the dad with the PC builds, you
Mhm.
know, and he had the best CPU you can have.
oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So my entrance to gaming was very, very early. My dad ran an arcade game distribution company in the
Oh,
80s.
okay.
So in the so basically to rewind even further, my grandpa opened a bar. Well, he bought a bar in 1938 that was already a bar, changed the name, and he had a pool table and like a jukebox in there. And he got
And this was in Boston or the
this
area?
was I'm from northern Michigan originally.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So in the tundra of northern Michigan, little tourist town on the water, he got tired of paying someone else to like have this machine in his bar. So he was like, I'll just buy a pool table. So he got a pool table for himself. And then a friend was like, hey, I want a pool table too. And he was like, well, okay, I'll get one for you. And then this kind of naturally became a coin operated business. So when my
Cool.
dad got out of college in the 70s, that's when video games, arcade games were coming out. And in America, it was like, well, who's responsible for these? And it was like, oh, the people that do coin op stuff. So jukebox people, dart machine people, pool table, they just de facto became the people that would be in charge of these arcade machines.
Okay.
And my grandpa was like, I don't know how this works. Do you want to do this? And my dad was like, yeah, I do. But not because my dad loves video games, but because he was like, I understand electronics and I can make
Yep.
money doing this. You
Yeah.
know? So I was born into the video game boom of 1983, and we had Pac-Man greeting cards. It's a boy that went out to everybody. My
Did you
crib.
have like ColecoVision, all that stuff?
I did not have a Coleco, but we did get a original Nintendo. So like I was born in the arcades. That's why I have video game tattoos. That's like why the Mrs. Pac-Man is right there. You know, like
Yeah.
that's my earliest memories. And then we got a Nintendo. My brother and sister are about 12 years older than me, so even older than your older sibling.
Mm.
And they were kind of maybe too old to care much. They were like kind of into it, but like not really. But I was
Yeah.
like, this is cool. Mega Man is a hard game. Like I was captivated by like the idea of really difficult video games.
Okay.
And I didn't really get into PCs except for I had the one friend who had a PC that had
Yep.
Doom on it. So
Oh yeah.
we would play Doom together on one keyboard with me or him on the arrow keys and someone else on the space
Yep.
bar. So you're like collab one person play Doom and Doom and Heretic and Duke Nukem. Um,
Oh yeah.
and like Sim City.
Wolfenstein. Oh my
Yes.
God, SimCity. That
Yeah.
was one of the ones I had on that PC at home.
Uh-huh.
And it's still to this day is I love city
Oh
builders.
yeah, I like the OG SimCity. Like some of the earliest
Yep.
versions, there was that trick where if you had no roads and had only trains, then you wouldn't have like traffic buildup.
Yep.
Like there was no traffic buildup if you didn't have roads. They got rid of that, obviously. I would just spawn monsters.
Look at you, you exploiter.
I would just build a city and spawn Godzilla or
Yeah.
or whatever. But I
Yep.
think if we fast forward in my life, I was into. Well, actually, no. That's it. That's the end of the question. I got into gaming from my father and the video game business.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't even know where my Nintendo came from. It just was there one day. And it
Oh,
yeah. Like
interesting.
maybe it was a Christmas present or something. Like I have the worst memory. So like going back, I don't have the like, whoa, my first video game moment, but for whatever reason, SimCity and Commander Keen stick out the most. Cause like
Oh,
again, I
nice.
didn't play the Nintendo that long because it got taken away.
Hmm.
But the PC was that's where it was. And then yeah, going to my friend's house was good stuff.
Do you know the N64 kid meme? Nintendo
No.
64. He's opening it up with the present. Do you know that meme?
Oh yes, yes.
He's like, that was me, basically.
Yep.
We got the Nintendo Entertainment Sports Pack or Adventure Pack. Someone in the chat might know the exact name. It came with the triple cartridge, which had Mario, Track and Field, and Duck
Oh my
Hunt,
god, track and
with the
field. Yep.
Zapper and the Power Pad, which was Nintendo's earliest DDR pad, if you will, that had these
Yep.
dots on it that you could like run in place on, but you would just run like in gym class, like in place. The faster your
Yep.
feet move, the faster your dude runs. Faux Shizzle
We had
knows.
Duck Hunt too.
Oh yeah.
We had Duck Hunt.
Light gun.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was awesome.
Beautiful. Okay. So
Sure.
we have some similar beginnings to gaming. Love
For
that.
sure.
Question number 2. What was your first video gaming obsession?
Ultima Online.
Tell me about that.
Maybe NHL, but I'll go with Ultima Online because I think it's more relevant.
Okay.
It was
I don't know that game.
it's first
So-
MMO.
Okay.
First ever MMO. Yeah, I go to another friend's house. He was one of the guys I played hockey with, and his brother, who was big time hockey player. Like, you know the movie Miracle,
No,
like about the 1980.
I know the
It's like
Mighty
1980
Ducks.
Olympics. We beat the Russians, whatever. So there's like a big movie about a Disney movie, and he was an actor in LA, but also an amazing hockey player. Went to
Mhm.
Ohio State, and he was like almost got the role to be the lead in that movie. He was the last cut for
Oh.
it because they chose hockey players that they thought could be actors, and they went with somebody else. But he was in California, and he played Ultima Online, and he showed his little brother, who was my best friend, about it, and he showed me, and that was it. That was history. Like changed my life forever. I'm in class writing like uh listing out what skills I need to level up and what items I need to get
Okay.
instead of focusing on class. Like, it was game over for me. School was no longer a thing. I was in that world of Sosaria, it's called.
So
And
sorry.
yeah. So do you know how CIG calls their servers, like the entire server collection, a shard?
Yes.
That terminology comes from the lore of Ultima Online.
Oh,
Because it's broken
cool.
up into, like, Pacific Shard, Atlantic Shard, but the reason it's called a shard is because, like, the big evil guy had one world, and it was all in this glass thing, and he broke it into a bunch of shards of glass, and
Oh,
there
interesting.
was identical worlds in those shards of glass: Pacific Shard, Atlantic Shard, Oceanic, right? Asian shards,
Oh,
whatever.
cool.
So that's where that terminology comes from, and lots of guys in the Austin studio worked on Ultima Online, as well as
Oh,
Chris, actually, I think.
that's cool. I had no idea that the term shard came from another video game
Yeah, the
lore
lore of a video game. Yeah,
explaining the technology.
yep,
Very interesting. That's cool. I got a few
yeah.
people in the chat who are fans of that game right now. I see Ultima Online dweebs check in.
Oh,
Says
yeah.
Leah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Macroers too, oh, yeah. But no, so that changed my life forever, and I played that game on and off for 17 years,
All right.
and, that's actually how I found out about Star Citizen as well, was
Okay.
from a UO forum. But it was a open world, not necessarily player-driven economy, but fairly close to one, and, I mean, it was a sandbox, and it was the most incredible thing I'd ever experienced in my entire life, and never I don't think I'll ever experience that again.
Wow.
Just the community, I mean, dude, they had their own real estate system, and it was, like, legitimate, like, where every plot in the world, because I was on Pacific, it was a popular shard,
Yep.
every plot was taken up, so you had to work really hard to earn money to get your first house. It was like real life. Like, you got your first little house, and then you turned that house over for more money, and then you got a bigger house. And yeah, it was
Oh.
crazy. And then I got a little spicy when I was a little older in high school, and started scamming people because there was you can this was the scam I got, like, I was like marked on the forum, don't deal with this guy. Uh you could
Bad
place a
actor.
tiny little yes, you could place a tiny little house next to a really big house, as long as the house sign was in the same window. If you could see it, you could double click on it,
Uh-huh.
and so I named the tiny house the same thing as the big house, and I would double click on the tiny house and be standing next to the big house saying, "Selling this big house over here," and then I would sell them the tiny house,
Oh my
and they didn't know.
God.
Yeah. Easy. And the like, I was a kid. The craziest thing is, like, I was selling these for millions of gold, millions, and every million of gold was $50 on eBay. The amount of, like, actual money I was dealing with was, like, not what a 15-year-old kid should be doing, and I had no idea. And, like, I don't have any of it or anything anymore, but it
Yeah.
was, like, I never sold anything. But, yeah, I was just a dumb kid, but I mean, the you could do anything you wanted. So it was like kind of the thing that CIG says, but actually true.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, a little bit.
Dude, I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about that game. Like everything I know about Ultima Online came from the last few minutes of you speaking.
Yeah.
Like I
Ah,
know that it's an old game that is
mhm.
important in the lineage or rather development of MMO video game types,
Yeah.
but I never played it and I don't have any firsthand experience there. So that's cool.
Oh, it's amazing.
So,
Best ever. They're still going, like, free shards, and I think there's even still official servers, but
oh,
I haven't played in since maybe 2017,
well, cool.
something like that. Yeah.
So if I want to give my 2 cents on this, the what's my first gaming obsession, I really can't quote any video game from my early years of my life because I loved gaming, and I was obviously really into video games, but my entire life was piano, drums, playing in
Yeah.
bands from pretty much age. I started playing piano at age 5, but by the time I was 9, I was like, this is what I do. And it just went up and up and up. So all of my free time was pretty much playing in bands or practicing every day.
Yeah.
I went to Berkeley School of Music and I started my first band, started going on my first tours, and I would bring Game Boy Advance SPs with me. I had 4 Game Boy Advance SPs back in like 2008 with the link cables. And I would
Nice.
challenge my bandmates and other friends I'd meet on the road to play like Tetris and Mario Kart on my collection of Game Boys.
I never knew there was Mario Kart on Game Boy.
Yeah, Mario Kart. It was for the Advance. It's for the Game Boy
Okay, yeah,
Advance.
I never had Advance. I only had the original Game Boy.
Oh, got it. This is the one that had the clamshell open, or was like the wider purple taco looking thing.
Yep. Yep.
So for me, the first real gaming obsession came when I moved to New York in 2015, and I, for the first time in my life, in my adult life, was not in a full-time touring band.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I'm in a brand new city. I have to kind of start things over. And I ended up joining a cover and wedding band that did play a lot and made good money, but never toured. We did like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday during the warm months. But I had more time, and my game systems were all super old and out of date at this point. And I was kind of getting excited by PC gaming, specifically retro-inspired titles like Towerfall and The Binding of Isaac, and games that had an aesthetic that would have been on the Super Nintendo if that still existed.
Yeah.
And that led me to build my first gaming PC in 2015 after deep diving and binging Linus Tech Tips content and Jay's 2 Cents content and Bitwit Kyle content, and like just enveloping myself in how do I build a computer? What is that? And then once I built the computer, it was a Intel powered, I want to say like 1080 GPU system. Yeah, NVIDIA 1080. And I was like, wait a minute, my machine's powerful. I should play a good looking game. I love space. And I literally typed in PC space game 2015, enter. And whoop, Elite Dangerous came up, and whoop, Star Citizen came up. And I went, oh, what are these? Open a new tab, look into it. Star Citizen is a Kickstarter game. Nope, close. Elite Dangerous is a full game I can play. Okay. And then I fell in love with Elite Dangerous. Hook, line, and sinker. I was full on obsessed. Like
what, because I love the way certain things are in Elite, but I never loved it for the reasons I loved Ultima, and it's the exact opposite of that. So what did you love so much about it?
Flying spaceships with joysticks, number 1.
Okay.
The simulation experience of flying. Number 2, being able to use things like Track IR and then Tobii Eye Tracker to like look around in the game, or VR. I started playing in VR exclusively in like 2017.
Okay. I just used VR for the first time, like 2 weeks ago.
Wow, cool. So I was really into it back then. I also really liked the ability to tinker with the ships, changing the modules out. Any of my Elite fans in the chat can say that engineering is what ruined a lot of Elite Dangerous. But it was fun to tinker with the ships. It's just a shame that created this like hard line in the sand between those who have spent dozens and dozens of hours on a ship for PvP and those who have not, and like, you're going to lose. Like it made a bunch of problems, but it's fun to be that space mechanic.
You always played in an open world?
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. That's the thing for Elite that I was like, why would you ever play an open world if there's an option to not play in the open world? And I was like, this is not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because I wanted that You know, like you sit
Hmm.
the one of the things about Ultima that was like the best was like you would sit at Brit Bank, the Ultima Online people know. You sit at Brick Bank and there's just people there selling their stuff, their wares, they're showing off their dragons and all sorts of stuff. Like Elite just felt empty, dead, because it was like, where are the people?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing that I struggled with that game. But oh my god, the sound,
Hmm.
the fast, not the fast travel, but like their version of quantum travel,
Yes. Super
the
Cruise.
deep core mining,
Hmm.
like second to none, I think.
I also was captivated by the real space in that game, the
Yes.
one-to-one that we know of in our galaxy. Like, look up
Yeah.
outside of the star and be like, hey, I'm an astrologer or amateur astrologer. I want to go to that star. And then you could go there in the game.
Yep.
And sometimes it would be more correct than other based on what we know.
Yeah.
And that was always exciting for me as someone who's always been obsessed with space. And that was my game. Like, I pretty much, it was the first time I ever played a game a lot. I think for me,
Mm.
it was from like 2015 until like 2020/2021. And I think in that time, without even streaming, I had like something outrageous, like 5 to 6,000 hours or something in that game as a
Wow.
non-streamer.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I was like, okay, video game worlds are really deep now. And like this rabbit hole goes further than I ever really imagined as someone
Yep.
who was only a console and mobile, not phone mobile, but like mobile game system kind of gamer. And
You had my Ultima Online experience, but in 2015.
yeah, yeah, kind
Yeah,
of.
it was just like, "Whoa, this is not sports games.
Yeah.
This is not a shooter." Like, this is something so much bigger.
Yeah. Like, for example, that's when I met Zero. Zero
Ah,
State
yeah.
Live. He and I were in the
Yep.
same org for Elite Dangerous. It was called the
Get outta
Federal
here. Okay.
Federal Reclamation Company. We met on like a Facebook server or Facebook group in 2016 or something.
That's wild.
Yeah.
He is the best human being I've encountered
Oh
in
yeah.
this in streaming content, anything, honestly.
Yeah, Zero's great. We've done a few collabs over
Amazing
the
guy.
years and got to meet him for the first time at CitizenCon in Los Angeles a couple years ago.
I can't wait to meet him one day.
Yeah.
It's yeah, he's such a great guy.
So that's that. Cool. All right. This next question, I know all of my nerds in the chat are going to love. What sci-fi worlds are you really into? Like established sci-fi media worlds.
I've really I've liked Star Wars always. Like my dad got me into that when I was a little kid, and I did see you in our chat you mentioned Babylon 5. Don't ask me to remember anything about Babylon 5, but as a kid, that was my favorite show
Hell
by
yeah.
far. Watched it all the time. I never got into Star Trek. My dad was into it, but I was never into it. I recall my dad watching Deep Space Nine. That was his favorite. But I watched it more recently when it was on Netflix, and it was
Hmm.
fantastic. But for me, Star Wars, Babylon 5, um, I would say pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool.
I want to rewatch Babylon 5 now as an adult.
I was about to bring that up. I have not watched it since it was on like cable television as a kid.
Same. Yeah.
And I have no idea if aspects of that show hold up, you know?
Yeah, like, all I just remember is, like, the dude with the crazy hair, the lady with the bone head, like, that's it, you know, and the cool ships, and they were, like, 6 Degree of Freedom kinda ships,
Uh-huh.
but that's I don't remember the plot really at all.
Me neither. Nothing about the plot.
Yeah, but I know I loved it.
Cool.
That's it.
I like that. It's like a gut feeling.
Yeah,
I like this in the chat. Babylon 5 watch party when?
yeah.
Yeah. So I think like if you had to think about Star Wars for a second, do you have a favorite era of Star Wars? Like either specific movie or like TV series now that that's also a thing?
I mean, Andor was god tier.
Mm-hmm.
Andor was so good. So
Yeah.
the more recent Andor, but I
Quality
loved
levels just like
yeah, as a kid,
high.
I loved the 3rd original movie.
Is that Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my favorite as a kid.
Cool.
And then but I'm very simple. Like, I don't overly like, what's funny is I watch all the lore videos and just, like, listen to them, but I don't get too deep into stuff like that. I just enjoy it. I just watch it. That's what it is. It's just entertainment,
I like
you
that you
know?
said that. The "it's just entertainment" statement.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Uh, oh,
'Cause
hold
people
on.
take it, like, real
Just a
seriously.
question for you both. Do
Mm-hmm.
you remember the
Oh,
Battlestar
hold on.
Galactica game?
I
Go ahead, I
got
see
I,
it.
I got a random question from my buddy Space Doubt interjecting. The question is, do you remember the Battlestar Galactica game? Like a PC
No.
game?
No.
I have
I didn't even know there was one.
I know. I mean, never watched original Battlestar because I was on when I was like not born or was way
Yeah.
too young. But I loved the Battlestar Galactica sci-fi series from the late 2000s. In my
Yep.
opinion, the quality of that show and the serialized nature of episode to episode continuation is what led to such a revival of space science fiction television. Like, I don't think we would have got the new Star Trek Discovery the way that we got it with not the success of Battlestar Galactica.
I think you're right. And then even post, like, it was one of the first ones on streaming services. That's where I binged it.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. I mean, I see somebody in the chat saying Firefly too. That was a big one also.
Oh, yeah. The season that never got season 2 will live in
Yeah.
infamy forever as like what would have
Yep.
happened. Yeah.
Yep.
But great series, spaghetti western, western in space. Nathan Fillion. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to that question about science fiction worlds. And for me, it's Star Trek.
Okay.
Completely. I first started watching Star Trek probably on like TBS. I think it was the Next Generation syndicated. And I thought Picard was like such a weird, like regal badass. I was like, who's this bald guy that's like got so much like OG like swagger as this like Shakespearean captain? And I loved Data, the juxtaposition of, the android trying to be human but is not human. Brett Sprinter, I love the way he portrayed Data. And I liked how goofy the show was. Like when you're a kid, those holodeck episodes, I don't know how familiar you are with them, but
Yeah.
the holodeck episodes get crazy weird. Like Moriarty is running around, like Watson is Geordi, and like Sherlock is Data. And it gets weird and fun and it's lighthearted. And I liked it as a kid. And I liked Star Wars. I was not that into it. I remember watching a VHS tape of Star Wars original at like a summer camp thing when I was a little kid and being like, this is pretty cool. I like this I like these lightsaber battles.
Yep.
These are cool. Every kid's like, oh, a sword that's a laser? Sign me up. Like so kid coded. But it wasn't until my late 20s when I moved into a warehouse in Boston, Massachusetts with my band Bad Ash at the time. That was my first touring band that I left Berklee School of Music to tour in. We rented a warehouse under the guise of our t-shirt company, and we had a business internet under the guise of our like business, our t-shirt printing business that we had because we made our
What
own
was it
shirts.
called? Like a T1 line or something
I
you had?
don't remember what it was, but it was fast and it was like business in 2007, I think 2008.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to know if I actually like Star Trek. So what I did is I torrented every single Star Trek there is, everything, all the shows, all the movies, and I watched them in sequential order from the original series all the way through. At the time, Discovery wasn't a thing yet. So like all the way through Deep Space Nine, I think would have been the last one, and all the movies as well. I even like, I had my own Plex server at my computer at home that I could stream to my Gen 2 iPhone while I was on the road. So
Hell
so
yeah.
I remember being on the Vans Warped Tour in 2010, and every morning when I was doing my warm-ups, I would literally watch an episode of Star Trek on my phone in a tent in whatever parking lot we were in while playing on my drum pad. Like,
Yep.
and I fell in love with the show in a real way because I had adult brain to like tie things together.
Yep.
And that was kind of my beginning of like, oh, I'm a nerd in a real metric way. I like this. And that's kind of what led me into the whole Elite Dangerous space thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was the sci-fi, like as I said, like I just watched it for entertainment. I like I would say I love Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't my space thing actually came from Chris's original games.
Wing Commander.
Going, yep, I was playing him at my friend's house. He had the only PC that can play it
That's
with
right.
the dad.
Yeah.
So we played Wing Commander 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 4 was on PlayStation. So I eventually had a system that could play 4, so I played 4 again on my PlayStation, and then 5 was, we don't talk about 5. But yep, Privateer, my love for what Star Citizen should be is from Privateer and things like that, and I didn't play Freelancer because I didn't know about it until after Star Citizen, but I did stream Freelancer years ago, and you could see Chris was trying to make Star Citizen back then,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you could see it. You could see all the writing on the wall. I wish he took some more things from Freelancer than we have now. To be honest, I think the game would be a lot better for it.
So would you say that the way you got into Star Citizen was from the Chris Roberts other games, or is there
100%.
okay?
100%. Yeah. I'm more of a fantasy, Lord of the Rings, that kind of game, like player. I way prefer those, but Wing Commander was a huge part of my life. Massive part. I have all the games, all the CDs, the discs, all of it
Freddie
at
Prinze
home
Jr.
still.
autographed picture from the movie.
No, that movie, I cried. That movie was so bad, it ruined everything I thought Wing Commander was. Yeah, oh, horrible.
I like when you said earlier, like entertainment media is entertainment media. We can just watch it. That kind of
Yeah,
reminds me of
as a kid,
like,
it ruined my life.
for example, the Halo TV series was not amazing, but I still kind of enjoyed
You can still
watching it,
watch it.
especially season 2. Season 2 made me want to play Halo. But
Okay.
it's like for me, especially when I get done with this job, like when I get done talking all day long and being the person
Yeah.
who entertains, or at least the person who is the ringleader for entertaining, it's nice just to sit back and put something on and just like passively watch it. And I don't
Yeah.
have to love every aspect of that.
No. Like, I get where some of the Star Wars people get upset about where Star Wars is going because 'cause they're kind of rewriting some canon stuff a little bit at times, and people don't like that, but as far as that, like, that's as far as I would take it. I would be like, "Ooh, that's not cool," or but I would never, like, people lose their minds over stuff like this, and it's,
Oh
I
yeah.
sort of get it. I get frustrated with Star Citizen, but
Mm-hmm.
I mostly am just like, what can we do? Just I hope they just make a good game because 'cause they've already built a good world, so
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know why we can't just take things in. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Everyone takes it so seriously. Spectrum forums,
Yeah.
I don't even go on those. I don't even look
No.
at them.
No, I mean, forget it. If I post, it's always some comment about me and not about the point. So it's like, what there's no reason to at all.
Yeah. Like for me, the 6 degrees of separation will make it here. Like if something happens there that is so important for me to know, someone in the
Yeah,
chat will say something. Like it'll get here some other way.
yep,
Oh, here's
absolutely.
a good question I want to read from one of my longtime subscribers, Oracle MSU. They say a question for you about audience expectations. Do you ever feel a pull to play into a character or reputation the audience expects you to have? Or is it natural just to keep it real and be yourself on stream? I like this question a lot.
You want me to go
Yeah,
first?
Mike, why don't you take it?
I think people think I'm a character, but this is me. I am I will say what I think. And I think you saw my react and it but at times it may not have been as nice, but it's like those are the thoughts that were in my head in
Mm-hmm.
that moment. And it's really, really funny because now I'm married and we go and visit my parents in New Jersey, and my mom will say and my dad will just say stuff that are like not okay things to say,
Mm-hmm.
and like not like racist stuff or anything like crazy. We're talking about just like a comment that would like upset my wife, but not
Uh-huh.
not just realizing it. And I'm like, oh God, that's me. Oh, now I understand why people get so frustrated with me. But yeah, I wish it was a character because it would be um wouldn't be easy to play a character. I don't think it's easy to play a character, but my life would be a lot less stressful if I wasn't always worrying about everything, finding the worst in everything, and easily frustrated. My life would be maybe a little simpler.
All right. I completely get what you're saying there.
Yeah, I think being true to yourself is everything.
Uh-huh.
Being honest is everything.
Yeah,
Uh, like that's just everything. I think that's important in the world is just be honest.
exactly. I think if I'm going to answer that same question, the once again, I'll restate the question for those of you who didn't hear the beginning of it. The question is, as streamers and content creators, do we ever feel a pull to be a certain character that you expect us to be? That's the crux of this question. And
Yeah.
I am a performer naturally,
Hmm.
as someone who has spent, you know, hundreds of hours of my life at this point on stages and also in classrooms teaching music. There is always a level of performance to that. And it's easy to see why I have built such a ridiculous place to do the kind of job that I do. After living a life stuck behind all the other band members looking at their asses, I was like, oh, here's a thing I can have where I can have the cameras on me for a change. And I definitely do have a bit of a character that I have created that is a slightly exaggerated version of myself.
Mm.
And I think over the last 6 or 7 years that I've been doing the streaming thing, I have been learning how to make that more and more like the real version of me.
Okay.
And I think the character I have now is a very real version of myself that isn't
Mm.
too overly sensationalized, but as someone who does musical performance, I do have to ham it up sometimes and go to the drums. Like my whole channel's thing is like when you donate $20, I'll play any song you want right now in the moment. And that happens multiple times a stream. And sometimes I don't always have the vibe for it or the energy, but the
Yeah.
show must go on. You turn that on, you get over there, you smile, you wink, you kick ass, and you come back to the desk. Like this is one of those things that people who work in Hollywood or show business learn how to handle, and other people either don't or don't want to. So it is hard to find
Yeah.
that authentic, real me moment that doesn't feel out of place, you know?
I have a question then about the question.
I'm ready.
Like, okay, well, first off, a comment. I definitely feel drawn to comment on everybody's drama in this game. Anytime anybody has drama, they want to know what I think, and man, I stay out of it a lot more than they want me to. So that's like, do I ever feel this feeling of being drawn to it? Yes, because like the chat just wants me to be an asshole to everyone, and it's like, but that's not me. It's like if I feel passionate about the thing, then I will. So like with your video, for example, it was a lot about content creation.
Mhm.
I have a massive passion for Twitch streaming, massive, and I'm doing it for a long time, and I've seen a lot of people come and go for a lot of reasons, and yeah, and I was just like, I need to say all these things, and I hope that they can help. As nasty as they may have come out, I was like, I need to say them because I think it will help somebody. But the other thing is are you okay? I like to make people. I like to make people laugh. I love to see like the laughing emotes in chat when you make a funny, right? Like
Mhm.
omega lols or whatever. And is that still being true to yourself? Like
I think so.
like I like to make people laugh. So if you're hamming it up a little bit to make them laugh, are you still being true to yourself? I hope so. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think so.
okay.
Especially in
So
a
then
job
yes,
that is
I'm true to
performing.
myself.
Especially in yeah, like a job that is a
Yeah.
performer. Like you wouldn't
But I
say
do it in my real life too.
exactly. So do
Yeah.
I.
Like in the
Um,
hockey locker room, we're all shitting on each other basically, right? So
I think the pull that I will sometimes feel is that I am usually more on the side of optimism in the general community of the game. Like
mhm.
typically I have a little bit more of a lighthearted feeling about things.
Yep.
And I remember years ago, this was maybe 3 years ago, when I started to be a little more aggressive on things in the game and get a little more hard-lined about it. I had a lot of people tell me, "Hey, well, I don't like this anymore. Like, you're the positive, optimistic person about this game. I don't want to see you if you're just gonna be mad and yelling and negative." And I think for me, I sometimes do struggle with having those real conversations about like, "Hey, I don't like this choice. Here's why. I'm kind of upset about it." Because I do sometimes feel that pull to be more light about it, more
Mm.
entertainment focused about it. And I think that's why I don't make clips about glitches anymore. I used to make lots of glitch clips, and I realized this kind of slightly negative spiral that would come from the comment section on these glitch clips. Even though I would do things with the glitch that would be funny, like maybe I go play piano to like laugh it off or whatever.
Yeah, I've
But
seen a few.
yeah, but still, I didn't like the discourse that was happening. So I kind of pivoted my shorts content to all helpful tips on the game, like little
How's
tidbits.
that done for you?
Oh, incredible.
Because yeah, I can imagine like they've all made it to
Incredible.
me. I think they're really well done and really good quality. I think it's super good.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't make shorts, so I have no idea
Thank you.
like if they were successful for you or not, but like yes, they were from my perspective, they were super, super good.
Thank you, man.
But you also have to understand that when people come to you and tell you that you should act a certain way to validate their feelings, that's their issue.
Yeah, they're putting you in a box. Like, yeah.
That's their problem, not yours. Right. And if you're not able to feel the way you want to feel because of them, for me, it's like, see you later, buddy. And you know, go watch somebody so you feel better about yourself if that's what you need. But I can't be somebody else for you. I can't do that. I like people freak out.
Question. What are the
Like
top
my
two
comments
things
are my
that you
are the
both
are the
feel will get
best
you
because
genuinely
my comments
excited
are
about
if
the
I'm
future of
positive,
FC?
I'm a shill. If I'm
Okay.
negative, I'm whatever horrible thing that you want to call me today. So it's just I don't like you can't pay attention to these people. They just want their own feelings
You can't
validated,
win
right?
sometimes. Like, you literally
It
can't
doesn't
win
matter.
sometimes. I
It
joke
literally doesn't matter.
like, for me, something that's very funny is I do a lot of landing the spaceship videos,
Mhm.
because when I was looking for shorts content that worked for people who know the game and people who don't know the game, which by the way, those are very different audiences.
Yep.
I learned that a video of the ship flying in third person landing in a cinematic nice way was enjoyed by people who don't know the game because they're like, "Oh, look at this pretty game. What is this?"
Looks cool.
And
Yeah.
people who know the game are like, "Oh, that's so smooth. The touchdown is so smooth," because keyboard and mouse can be very hard to get those smooth touchdowns. And I always use joysticks. It's like these comments would be, "Well, you're not a real pilot because you're not using first person camera." And then I would do a video in first person camera, and then I get the comment would be like, "Yeah, but like I can't see the ship. Could you land it in third person camera?"
Yeah. It's
And
like,
I always laugh
dude,
because I'm like, "Well, you can't win. Like
no.
you literally cannot win with that."
Internet comments are the thing you did in high school when you didn't like somebody. You all sat around a table when they weren't there, talked about them, but they do it in your own comment section where you can see it. Right? It's like if they were talking behind your back, but you can actually read it. They act like you're not there.
Yes.
And it's like,
Exactly.
dude, I'm right here.
Yes. Exactly. And I think when you look, this is a larger conversation about internet communications and the world and
Yeah.
whatever, but like when you have the memory of discourse and conversations before internet chat conversations, you
Yep.
always think about, well, what if this was real?
Yeah.
And
Hey, have you ever been to a bar, Citizen? I guess you're a more positive guy. I've never had a bad experience at a bar, Citizen.
uh-huh.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because for one, the people that take the time to go there love this project. Like no
Yeah,
one
but they hate me typically if they love the project. So what's really interesting is they don't say it there. I sometimes see the eye from across the room. I see you. But that's as far as it ever will go. They may not come up and talk to me, but most people did. And then they found out that I was like a human being, weird, instead of
Mhm.
this thing that you're supposed to hate on the internet or something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's real life is sometimes a lot better.
For real. Um, okay. I want to ask a different Star Citizen question to you.
Sure.
Um, and this one is definitely very broad,
Okay.
but if you think about the development that has come from where it began until where we are right now, what would you say is one of your favorite things or features they've been able to accomplish for any reason? Just like, what is one thing that really resonates with you as like, oh, they did this?
Uh, it has to be either Hathor or crafting. And the thing about crafting is it sucks because we can't show it to you
Yeah,
yet.
it's only
It
an
sounds like we're
Evocati.
gonna be
Yeah.
sounds like we're gonna be able to show it to you really soon. But crafting was really, really solid. I was so happy with that. But Hathor was like proper felt like sandbox MMO stuff. Like anytime they do anything sandbox related, and they use the word sandbox a lot without using it
Mhm.
correctly at all, in my opinion. But that is was such a fantastic thing. It's been broken plenty of times. That doesn't matter. For me, it's the thought that counts with these guys because it's to me it feels like they're one track mind right on Squadron. So it's always like get the next ship out, do something that's cool enough to sell more ships, not really focused on Star Citizen as much. No matter what they say, their focus is on Squadron. Where's Chris? He's never around. It's because he's focused on Squadron, right? He's
Mhm.
focused on the thing he can't really talk about. No big deal. I think it's the right. I think they're doing the right thing by doing that. Just to be clear as well. But um, when they did Hathor, it was like they did Hathor with Wicklow, with the Polaris, and the only way you could build the Polaris was with the Hathor stuff. And it was like, whoa, so we have to PvE, puzzle, VP, we're fighting. It was just chaos and it was incredible. and we still continue to play it today, and it's always a slightly different experience, and that has been the best thing that I've experienced in Star Citizen since it's been made. And what's beautiful is next patch we get the next version of it in space. So I'm very excited for that. But crafting is the closest thing to that Ultima Online experience that I had. And I never played Star Wars Galaxies, but I will be playing it on stream within
Oh,
this month.
oh, I also never played it.
That
Cool.
that's what their crafting is based off of, is Star Wars Galaxies crafting. So it's like, I gotta jump into this then. And yeah, so for me, it was like, that's the closest experience I had to. I mean, Ultima was so cool, man. I wish you got to play it. You would have been addicted a long time ago, I think. Like, dude, you crafted, and your name was on the item that like. So it was like, if
Oh.
you were a renowned crafter, it was you know,
You
you
get
knew
your
who to go
name
to.
on your hammer or your sword or whatever.
Yep.
Cool.
Anything you crafted, it'd say crafted by and your name.
That's
So like,
cool.
you could see somebody die later on and look at their body, and there might be your armor that he bought, right?
Oh, awesome. I,
Yeah,
I
such a
like
cool thing.
I like that you mentioned the Hathor sites,
Yep.
because the first time I turned the laser on with my crew
Yeah.
from the planet, but people were in space. And I used the
Yep.
Discord video to like pull in their shot. And I could see the satellite in space from someone in EVA going down to the planet. Yet I was at the planet looking up and seeing it. I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in an open world video game that the
Yep.
world is not ready for yet. Like, the
No.
majority of gamers cannot comprehend how all-encompassing a situation like this in Star Citizen is. And I saw it in that
One of
moment, and I was like, I don't know how I can make a short that explains this in a minute. I can't. Like, that
No,
was the first thing I thought
you
of.
just show it.
So I just
Just
did the
show it. Say
I
nothing.
just did the dubstep laser. I looped the laser
Yep.
sound and I played drums over the top of it. That was
Hell
my
yeah.
Hathor announcement.
I just we've been, I guess we're going for our second Idris because we have nothing better to do in our org.
Uh-huh.
So one of the guys that I'm in the same alliance in EVE Online with is in my org, and he had never done Hathor, and we just did it this week. And we're like, look up as the laser's firing,
Mhm.
you know? And it was just like, oh, hell yeah. So even like more recently, people experiencing it, it's like, that's one of the things that they absolutely nailed. Like,
Agreed.
oh yeah, there he is. He's in the chat.
Nice.
Spitting.
Nice.
Yep.
I think for me, when I think about my favorite feature thing in Star Citizen, it's actually something that they pulled off quite a long time ago that they
Okay.
of course refined over time, and it comes from my baggage from Elite Dangerous and my wants for that game being in this game. And for me, it's still the first thing that made me go, whoa, I think I might want to try this game. And it's the reality that in Star Citizen, you were always a corporeal being, like a humanoid person, maybe aliens in the future, who knows, but at least you are like a two-legged, two-armed individual who has to go inside every vehicle, every ship,
Yep.
every building. That was like, whoa, okay. Because in Elite, you're just a ship. You are a spaceship. You are a SRV ground vehicle. And
Yep.
then when they added Odyssey in 2020, they added an FPS environment in certain areas only where you teleport from the ship, and it felt awkward and it felt weird. And for me in Star Citizen, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm always a person and I do all these things. And yeah, that also causes tons of glitches even still. Just yesterday, I was trying to show off the new gold standard Aurora doing a box mission, and I tried to right-click place the box inside the Aurora, which made my character back up a little bit into the chair, which caused a collision between me and the chair, and I died immediately. And
Classic.
they're still working on how to make all that work together. But the reality is, when it works, when you show someone who understands the current world of AAA video games, they see that and they're like, oh, that is beyond what I thought was possible in actual video games right now. And they're right. It is beyond. It's still glitchy. But the fact that it's there is still that thing that grabs me about the game.
That is my love and hate relationship. Like, I would never consider that the positive in my mind, because that is the thing that separates Star Citizen from everyone. That is the thing that makes Star Citizen special.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing that they don't need to do anything else. They did it forever ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where, like, you can walk in your ships, you can walk in a building, and you can walk on a planet. After that, they just needed to keep it simple, and they refused to, and that is where all of my frustration is built from. There is an amazing video from Hayes that just came out a couple of days ago that talks about people, like, don't come to MMOs for the gameplay. MMO gameplay is terrible. They come there for the community, and they come there for the worlds and the environments. We have those. They just have to build in the, like, gameplay systems, and forget about it. You have this timeless game that will never, like, will last for 20 years if they're able to keep it open, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they did it already, and that's where all my frustrations come from, is, like, you don't need to necessarily do more. They have this incessant desire to do it, and that's their passion, whatever. It's not my company. They can do whatever they want, but I could still have my opinion, and my opinion is, if you just put a simple game in this world, like most of other MMOs are, forget about it. You have a home run.
I have said very similar things in the past. Like,
Yeah.
if they could launch what they have now that works, it would be incredible. I would love it. I would play it for years and years to come.
We never needed Pyro or Nyx.
Oh, Nyx is like what? It's like
don't need
it's like a
it.
spreadsheet thing. Like, did it just because?
Just to say that they did it, I think it's a
Clemson
lot of it
dropped
is
a 10
optics now,
sub
that
bomb.
they're talking about their numbers and they're this. They love their optics, and their optics don't make a good video game. So
Yeah. Let me quick say thank you to Oracle MSU for those gifted subs. Thank you so much, dude. One of them went to my friend, Dr. Matt Zappa, that I went to Berklee School of Music with. He now teaches at Berklee, and he won
Hell yeah.
Best Session Musician of the Year at the Boston Music Awards just last month. Give it up to Dr. Matt
Congrats.
Zappa. I don't think they're in the chat, but they might be. You never know.
I feel like all the gifted subs go to people not in the chat.
I think it's like
You ever notice that?
something, it's got to have, I'd love to know what the algorithm is. What is the Twitch algorithm for random gifted sub? Does it look at, like, how many people are currently subscribed and then who's been here? I don't know. Like,
I feel like it's like if you've been here recently but not for a little while, they're, like, trying to draw you back in with it.
oh, that's probably, you clicked on it and you left, so you get the announcement.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, because then you get an email, you got a gifted sub.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, hey, I got a question.
yeah, I remember that guy.
I got a question from Space Doubt that came in. I want to read this one. Oh, after
Jack
this
101K
other
gifted
gift
a
sub.
TO
Thank you,
activate.
Jack. This one says, what are two things that you both feel would get you genuinely excited about the future? Okay, so two, I think Mike already said one thing, crafting. Mike is super excited for crafting in the game. But if you're going to give one more thing, Mike, that is not in the game yet, that actually excites you, what would
The
it be?
death of
Spaceman?
what is it called? No. The death of their economy sim thing that Tony Z wanted to make, and a player-driven
Oh.
economy.
That video from Tony Z. Yeah.
Yeah, kill that. Worst idea
Quanta?
ever. And Quanta's the dumbest idea ever, I think. It depends on what they do with it, but have you noticed that NPCs, like, dude, they get to play the coolest game of all time. They get to go to Nyx and get sick. They get to have these crises, and like, you know, they're always talking about all this cool lore, and we don't get to do any of that stuff. The NPCs have the coolest life in this game, and we're just losers, it feels like. But it really feels that way. But the For me, I mean, I just recently got into EVE Online, and I'm sorry, the economy in that game is second to
Oh,
none.
isn't that what the
It is
game is? Isn't it mostly
or
economy?
well, it's just everything is made by the players. So, sort of, but it's like it's incredible how it self-regulates and how the company works within that. So if they're like, "Ooh, battleships are maybe too expensive to build right now," then they just turn a little knob and add more of that material in the world for people to get. So the prices go down and battleships are
Mm.
cheaper. And it's not this whole like, have you noticed what every time CIG economy is like, we have to go through our laundry list spreadsheet and change all these numbers and we did all this work. It's like you didn't have to. You choose to, and you make your life like CIG
Mm,
is
okay.
addicted to making their life as complicated as possible to the point where they're no longer able to develop the systems that they want to do, and then they say they have to do reworks when if they didn't, right? But I know that that's
Mm.
not necessarily what's going to happen in Star Citizen. But if there's you asked what I wanted,
Yeah.
oh my god, if we had a player driven economy, forget it. The other problem with it is Eve is a single shard. Everybody plays in the same world.
Oh,
Everyone.
interesting.
That's why that works. It might be really challenging unless we were like North America,
Mhm.
EU, and Asia. Like it would have to be big, large groups of people for a player driven economy to work. Otherwise, you end up having situations where one person can take over an entire market and it screws everything up, right? Um, Eve self regulates because if one guy sets the price too high, somebody's going to come and undercut you, and they keep it appropriate.
Mhm.
So yeah,
I'm thinking about my answer to this question. I think first of all, it's everything we have now just working. Like honestly, I love everything we have in the game right now. I like flying around and doing bounty hunting missions. I wish there was an active bounty hunting board in the game of like players and like people could become notorious outlaws and like groups could like work together to search for them and find them and have ways to find someone when they're stopped in the middle of quantum, like in the middle of nowhere. Like I wish that
CPT
player bounty
Nitro
hunting
activated
was
the Sun
actually
Plus.
fun. But for me,
yeah,
player bounty hunting is just the biggest wild goose chase ever, where you're fighting the video game as much as you are fighting the individual.
and 90% of the time they're just sitting at a station that you can't touch them in.
Yeah. Like, it just like it makes it not fun for me. And I do very little player PvP bounty hunting because I just get mad and I
Yeah,
try hard to avoid things in the game that I know trigger me, that I know make me more negative than I need to be. People are always like, "What's your favorite thing to do in game?" And I always go, "Well, it's whatever works right now. That's what I like doing."
yeah.
I end up having that same answer every time. And then, okay, if I go to the future, a thing in the game that we don't have yet, it's probably the ability to build things with my player group and org and like have a collective resource system that actually
Where like you could
functions.
share.
Yeah, that actually
Yeah,
works, that is grounded. I actually don't need to build my own base. I could have no base building and actually be okay as long as there was like, oh, you live here. Click this. We live here now. As
yep.
long as there's a place where we could like dump all of our stuff and have the org not just be playing the website. I want all that in the game. They've started to do little bits of it, but like an all encompassing thing. Like I know Eve has this stuff.
Oh, dude,
Like
like
I know they
the,
do.
the simplicity. It's all so simple too. It's I click on things. Contract to Enterprise.
Uh-huh.
Pay me this much. It'll deliver it to that station. Like and again, I don't necessarily want I would love like I was saying it to my stream the other day. If I was a bazillionaire, I had endless money, what would I do with it? I would make EVE Online, but first person.
Oh
That's what I
yeah.
would do. But
Uh-huh.
it would cost that much.
Yeah,
Let's be
exactly.
honest.
Yeah.
but the things that I love, this has become my passion the last couple of years, is things from other games that are just simple
Hmm.
and going, what if we just did this? Like EVE Online contract system. Click, contract to Enterprise. This is how much it costs. It goes to that station. So the station I'm in, that's where I'm contracting it to you. It doesn't just go into your inventory wherever you are. You got to go and pick it up,
Hmm.
right? And it's just that simple, right? But then the other thing you could do is contract from here to there. And then another player goes and picks up your stuff and brings it where you want it to be. And it's just that simple. And my favorite thing is that you can put collateral on there. So the risk is on the cargo hauler. You know, cargo haulers don't really have any risk right now,
Hmm.
and they just like blow themselves up all the time when they get PvP'd. They're not going to want to do that anymore because then they're out whatever the collateral is. And it's perfect. It works perfectly and it's fantastic. And it's like one of those things where it's like there are very few, if any, flaws in this. Why wouldn't we adopt it? Like the economy thing, I see the flaw because what if we don't have enough people in the server we're in because we're split up so much? So maybe that's not a good idea. But things like contract, I made a video about anomalies in EVE Online a couple days ago. It's like we could do that. That's really simple. That's the star maps looked exactly the same in both games, which was kind of interesting. And it was like we could totally have these things. Why not? And that's really become my passion lately. Is like look at these simple experiences. Imagine if we had these, how much better this game would be.
When you talk about simple systems from other games,
Simple
Grimshot
concepts,
activated
not
the
simple
concepts.
to
Prime sub.
make. Yes. Obviously, I'm not a game dev. Nothing is simple, right? But simple concepts.
Okay.
CIG doesn't like simple concepts, I don't think. We literally manually load our own cargo. That's insane. Dumbest idea of all time, in my opinion.
For me, when I think about the game of loading cargo, and I've talked about this before, I actually like the tactile aspect of land the ship, pick up the box, and move it because
I do too, to be fair.
it gives weight and it gives realness to it.
Yep.
However, I do wish there was a choice between manually load this or auto load this with a positive negative on either side. Maybe if
True.
you auto load it, it costs a little bit for the robots, if you will, or the deck hands or whatever to do it. But it also opens up this idea of, remember when we had sensitive cargo? Remember when we had
Yeah.
those explosive, what was that, during the early days of Xenothreat and whatnot?
Oh, yeah. The blue, the orange, and
Yeah.
the green.
Like, it makes me
Yeah.
think about what if we had kinds of boxes and crates that could be damaged if they were moved too much. And if you let the station move it, there's a chance they might break some of it and you wouldn't be able to make as much money. Where if you do it yourself, you're going to be careful while you move it. And then that's the reason you do it by hand. Kind of like when you're moving and you're like, don't let the movers take your gaming PC. You're like, I got that one. I got that one. You guys don't touch that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that could be very cool. But it's one of those
I mean,
things that, like, who knows if that's what they're going to do? I don't know what their plan is.
yeah, I mean, to be clear, I don't think the moving of the cargo physically is necessarily the worst idea. It's the implementation of it. You have size 1, size 2, size 4, size 8, size 16, size 24, and size 32 boxes. What are we doing? Like these kind of things are typically the the type of cargo we're moving is more like cargo ships, the big cargo ships that you see in the world, and those are standardized to basically 2 sizes. TEU, and then so 20-foot units and 40-foot units. And then the ships are built around those units.
Mhm.
CIG built the ships first. And now here we are. So now we have to have all these different sizes to fit in those cargo holds when I mean in 2025, 2026 they have finally learned that lesson. And I mean the most recent ship, the Hermes, will show you that, I think. So they've really learned. Yep, that Nightbot. Yeah. The fact that you have to like
I was going to say, do you know this site?
it's Tetris. Yep,
Yeah,
like, the fact that
I'll show
that's how
chat.
some of these ships are laid out
I'll
is
show
insane.
I'll show chat this site. This is a site I always bring up when someone's like, "I wanna move cargo, but I'm confused, or I don't know the boxes."
It's
I'm like,
look at this,
here's
guys.
what the community made for us. The community made this, not them. That's what the raft
Yep,
can do if you wanna pack the most raft." But you're like, "Hey,
a real cargo ship.
what if I wanna pack the most C2 Hercules? Alright, what's that look like? Alright, well, that's kinda weird. I gotta do this one area of size 2s over
Yeah,
there, and
now
then"
go to the Caterpillar.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. Let's go. Okay, how about I get the caterpillar in here? Let's get the cat. Let's throw that down. All right, so now we're looking at these 3 different ships. Look at that confusing mess. You got size 2s and size 4s and size 24s and size 1s. Like,
What is
yes,
this?
it's helpful, yes, but why is it like this? Why is this so
Why
confusing?
why does this tool need to exist is the question. It's an awesome tool. It should not need to exist, but it does.
Yes, exactly. And for me, it shows how passionate the community is and how the community wants a win. And the win is I want to play this game efficiently. I
Yep,
can't based on the in-game systems. I know how to do things. I'm going to make this for everybody.
yeah,
And the dude who made this commented on my video about it. And I was like, "Hey, thanks for making this. Sucks you had to do it, but it's
yep.
cool. Thank you."
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and it reminds me of my years playing Elite Dangerous because that same thing happened in the Elite community. There was no
So many cool
way.
third-party
Yeah,
tools.
like anyone who played Elite Dangerous from 2015 through 2020 knows EDDB, knows
Yep,
Corolius, knows Inara, all these sites that would tell you what materials are at what place.
yep.
And how do I
Massive news, Star Citizen news about that, by the way,
what?
today. They
Tell
hinted
us.
at an API
Oh,
going out to certain stick companies and things like that, so that they would be able to tell if, like, your landing gear is down or not,
oh,
that kind
interesting.
of stuff.
Oh, that's
It was
really
very quick on
cool.
SCL today. It was a 2-hour-long SCL, and it was like a half a second comment, but they talked about API going outwards
Oh,
from CIG to other
okay.
people.
That is really cool because I was
Yeah.
literally just discussing this yesterday. So, like, people who in chat don't know what Mike's talking about. He's talking about a way that the game can talk to the joystick or the peripheral in a meaningful back and forth way. For example, if you
Yep.
guys look at my desk, if I zoom in over here, oh, hold on, let me back this out. So if we look over here, I have a bunch of VKB modules on my left. And this little switch here is what I've
Yep.
been
The
using
lights.
to, so off, by default, this is landing gear off and then
Yep.
landing gear on. And I changed it recently to night vision on, night vision off. But the game doesn't know what position that switch is in at all times. So what I
Yeah.
did is it's actually hitting the same binding up as it is down. So the light is
Yep.
just for me. It doesn't
Yep.
actually connect into the game at all. But
And you
if,
can
yeah,
accidentally hit up when you meant that, like, so it might be red, but in
yes,
game it's green. But this way, the game might actually communicate out. It
yeah,
was a very quick thing, no timeline. Obviously, it
yeah.
sounds like something they discussed, aren't actually doing. We have these kind of comments all the time with SCL, but for me, just having the discussion is good
Oh,
enough.
I love that. As a
Like, how often as a Star Citizen fan are you like, "Do they know that we want this? Do they know how much we need this?" Because sometimes it feels like they don't know. They know, at least about this.
I'm a gear guy, obviously.
No,
No, no, I'm a gear guy,
no,
really? Me?
no,
Yeah. Like,
no.
and right now in my room, I have like full sets of multiple VKB setups, multiple Thrustmaster setups. I think about that kind of interaction and how cool that could be.
Yeah,
Like, if you're using a solar joystick with the light up buttons, maybe a button could be red when the landing gear is up and green when it's down, and it actually could change if you got switched up. Or
yeah.
the same thing with my keyboard. I've been using this new keyboard from Corsair, the Galleon 100, for the past couple days.
Oh, is this the
The
one
the
with
Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Let me zoom it in. Yeah, the one with the full-on Stream Deck on the side, and I have a button over here that says engine on and off, and it has a red and green light, but it's just going
Yep.
back and forth between two button presses. The game doesn't
Yep.
know if it's off or if it's on.
Yep.
I have to hit the button for that. But then again, if this could communicate with the game in a meaningful way, it opens up so many options for more interesting controller setups and more in-depth simulation setups, which is what a lot
Yep.
of the diehard Star Citizen community is into. Like, how many of you in the chat have a sim pit right now, even if it's just at your desk, like joystick peripherals? Like, I have a feeling a lot of you watching either have one or have dreams of building one.
Yeah.
And the companies want to make shit that you want to buy, obviously. And if the thing they can sell works specifically with the game you love, that's just an easier sell for them. But the API also opens up other ideas. Would that also be
Oh, yeah.
like maybe for controllers? Because that's something that CIG needs to add a lot of support for, I think.
Well, the whole conversation was around better key binding support. So I would imagine it would help with controllers and stuff as well.
You ever play Elite Dangerous with a controller?
No,
It's actually pretty awesome. You can
really.
hold one button and right away it pops up a wheel that you can do 4 different things with the stick. So every button has like 5 uses: single press, hold, direction.
Okay.
And it makes
Dude,
it
their UI killed it.
well,
They had such a good UI.
uh-huh. There's a lot of things they did well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, I'm having a really good time just chatting with you right now about all this stuff. Thanks for coming on the channel, Mike.
I appreciate it, man.
Chat, how are you guys doing? Are you having a good time here? I'm going to just real quick, I'm going to throw it to the chat here, see if anyone has any questions for the two of us that we feel like fielding, because I just hit the end of my actual question list. So I can now
Okay.
offshoot this a little bit to you guys in the chat. And Mike and I can scan your questions and see which ones we feel like talking about. I like this. Can you draw like art? I'm not very good. I used to draw when I was a kid, like doodles. I can draw like some cartoon characters, but like I'm not any good. Mike?
No, I'm saying.
Got it.
Nope.
Nice. Let's see. Oh, I love this question. This is one I answer every day. When do you think Squadron 42 will release? Do you have any
Oh, no.
opinion on it, Mike? Do you think they're going to keep the 2026 year calendar?
Well, I mean, they'd be stupid to compete with
GTA?
GTA, obviously.
But,
Yeah,
but
but
didn't they push GTA back? I don't even know when that is now.
November this year.
Okay.
So that's like where everyone kind of feels CIG would probably be releasing somewhere around there. You cannot it would be insane to compete with them.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows, right? He does have investors that he does have to kind of pay back. We through filings and stuff like that, we kind of know that they make money. Those guys do get paid. So who knows if they've gotten their investments back or what's owed to them. But I have no idea. I don't even think about it. And as a Wing Commander fan, I don't care. I already know what to expect. So I will just enjoy it no matter what. It doesn't matter because I know exactly what to expect. Subpar gameplay in between really cool cutscenes and maybe a good story, right? That's what Wing Commander was. It was awesome, right? The cool story, the you against them kind of thing, and I'll just take it in like basically how I think about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I end up feeling the way I felt about Wing Commander. But we'll see. I'm not a middle schooler, so who knows what kind of impact it'll have on me. The way how we're
Yeah.
so molded in that time of our life. But the for me, I don't think about it.
Uh-huh.
I honestly don't think about it at all. I know you say you answer the question every day. I get asked the question every day, but I'm just like, whenever it happens, who cares at this
Yeah.
point?
I usually say something like, "I am hopeful for a
Yeah,
holiday time release this year." That's what I'm hopeful
I'm
for.
scared of that. Like I feel like they have to do a Baldur's Gate and do it earlier if they're going to do it.
Ooh,
They have to
interesting.
come before because that's what Baldur's Gate did, right? They tried to avoid
I don't
Starfield,
I don't
if I'm not mistaken. So they went earlier,
Oh,
and then they
yeah.
Game of the Year it, right?
Yeah.
So if that's what you're gonna have to do, but CIG doing things early probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't
So
know. It's just
maybe they'd be smarter to wait.
I do agree that it's smarter to wait because I've often said that I don't think CIG can really handle this game bombing, failing. Like if Squadron 42 fails in a big way, it's going to be
Hmm.
pretty devastating to Star Citizen because outside of our bubble and all of us listening to this game is a joke. This game is a punchline for a
Yeah,
lot of gamers out there still.
even
And
for a lot of the people in the chat, it is.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
Squadron 42 being the first official video game launch release from this company that's over 10 years in development, like for a lot of people, it's going to be the first time they ever really looked at this in a real way and ever actually played it. So for me, it just has to be good enough to match other big AAA solo player titles. It doesn't have to
yeah,
be game of the year, but it has
no,
to be like game of the year contender, like in the top 10 games from the year it comes out, I think.
it's for me. It's got to like kind of. I know Cyberpunk's more like open world, but I want to use Cyberpunk as an example because it obviously launched really poorly, but it's gotta be like where Cyberpunk kind of is now.
Mhm.
Still has a few issues, a couple bugs, but it's a good game, fun experience, whatever, right? Um, like, thinking back to, like, my gaming career, it's like, why did people wanna play World of Warcraft? And it's because th Warcraft was awesome,
Yeah.
and imagine living in that world, right? And being the hero instead of playing kind of
Mhm.
like controlling the hero. And
That's a great
I think
analogy.
that's what
Really good.
that's what yeah, that's what this game has to do. It has to draw you into Star Citizen. Now, I don't think CIG like Squadron's already paid for. It doesn't matter. Like they have it just depends on their investor situation, right? We know
Mhm.
these guys, the Calders or whatever, like 60 million in, something like that. Well, I don't know how much they're owed still, whatever. We don't know any of that. It's none of our business, to
Yeah.
be honest. But the whole thing is about the like if Squadron bombs, does everything fall apart? Maybe, maybe not. They have an incredibly passionate audience
Mhm.
that isn't only passionate but pays.
Yes.
So, like, will it kill Stars? I have no idea. Like, it could probably handle some bad press.
Like
Obviously, if it's a bomb, then it's like, who's gonna trust you to build a good MMO? But yeah.
I think when I say that, I'm speaking more in the general gamer world. Like everyone here is going to play the game no matter what. Like every
But
one of
here's
us
the thing.
listening to this is in.
Yeah, but the thing about it is the general gaming world also just follows trends.
That's true.
So if Squadron sucks, but Star Citizen ends up being something that like a lot of big content creators pick up, have a good time with, which we have seen plenty of over the last couple of years, like they could see the potential that it has. Maybe it's not something they're going to play every day. And regardless, all the big content creators don't play any game for a long period of time.
Mhm.
But the that will bring an audience if they deliver a good experience even eventually. So it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter, I don't
That's a
think.
great
Like the
point.
single player experience gets picked up and then it gets put down,
Yeah.
you know?
I often tell people that I have excitement for Squadron because of what it means for anyone who works in this world. Because a bunch of people, thousands of people, are going to be clicking on our streams and our videos. So, in that
Oh yeah.
way, Squadron is going to be a very big deal. But I think Squadron will be a flash in the pan on live streaming platforms. It'll be popular for maybe
Yep.
a few months, and it will slowly trickle until we get to where No Man's Sky is as a game, where it only is popular during the update and the drop, and then it vanishes from like live stream platforms.
Of
And
course.
Star Citizen is the game that is built to thrive and live and work as
Like I said,
this kind of game. Yeah.
MMOs are communities.
Yeah,
Twitch is a community.
exactly.
YouTube is kind of a community, right? So games that are built around community are going to build communities. Squadron 42 is not built around any community at all, and it won't be ever. So every single player game will just, like you said, flash in a pan. Some single player games obviously have speed running communities and things like that could be a thing. You're not speed running Squadron most likely because it's mostly cutscenes
Oh
if it's
yeah.
anything like Wing Commander, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's not going to be a thing. So again, it is, you know, when you do stuff for you, just in your life,
Mhm.
or even for my stream, like I think everything that I do as far as like alerts or sounds or this, that's for me. That's not for the audience necessarily. That's for me to feel good about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what this is for Chris. Squadron isn't, I don't even think it's to make money. It's just what he wants to do.
Oh, that's a really interesting way to put it.
I mean, I'm sure he wants to make money,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
in reality, it's his passion, right? And I have been very, very, very fortunate before they realized that I get frustrated with their development, that I've like been to the studio in LA.
mhm.
I went to Germany. I've seen him work. And if anybody thinks he's just sitting on his ass collecting money, you got another thing coming.
Yeah.
He is incredibly passionate and dedicated towards making this as good as possible, and um, yeah,
That's been
like
what I've gleamed from
huge
talks with other
care.
people. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like this. Confirmed. Mike has been on Chris's yacht.
have not. I have not. No.
This is kind of a fun question from Moist Pinecone here that I want to read. They say, what effect do you think this game being alpha broadcasted is going to have on average audiences? Saying, do you think it's turned away more people or brought more in? That's an interesting question.
It it has done both.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's done both. Like obviously, they've made more money than they should for the product that they have,
Hmm.
but it has also created a stigma towards the project because you have an expectation when you come in, because you see an Enterprise video of you landing and it's super cool, and then you go from there and then you jump in the game and it's a, you know, buggy mess that day or whatever, and then your expectations are completely ruined, and then you never play again. uh Honestly, I mean, CIG, given how bad of a reputation they have as a game, I mean, the way they handle the refunds and stuff is, I think, really strong in comparison to like what Steam, like 2 hours you get. They give you 30 days and
Hmm.
you could still
It's pretty,
refund if you don't
pretty
like
good.
it.
Yeah.
Very generous on that front, right? Because they know what's going on here. So that that could leave less of a bad taste in your mouth. Like you might have it in that moment, but you're going to be able to come back.
Hmm.
So I thought that was like pretty smart by them. Um, I don't think again, like I said, everybody just follows trends. If all of a sudden the a peanut starts playing Star Citizen right now, tons of people are going to play it.
Yep.
You know,
Yes. The
it just is what it
ultimately
is.
ultimately the tastemakers, if you will, of the video game community
Yep.
can completely 180 a game and almost make it popular. We saw it
Yeah.
happen with Tarkov many years ago.
Tarkov, Valheim,
Yeah.
uh, whatever that stupid game was that everybody was playing about the imposter.
Oh, Among Us.
Among Us, yeah, right? That's all just by big communities enjoying a game and
Hmm.
people going, "Oh, there's so many fun games out there, just people don't know they exist," right?
Here's a fun question for you. What is a fun game that you like that has nothing to do with Star Citizen or space or MMOs? Like something that is just a really great game that you're enjoying either now or maybe in the last like few years.
Manor Lords.
What's that?
It's a medieval, historically accurate city builder slash RTS.
Oh, okay. Manor
Also,
Lords.
what was typed in chat? Eco global survival.
Oh, I don't know that one either.
It looks like Minecraft. It's basically like a really solid Minecraft mod. Eco
Hmm.
stands for economy and ecology. So you start out in the Stone Age, and then just like any other survival-ish type game, you chop wood, you kill animals, you make food and things like that, and you go through the ages, but with a whole slew of people. But as you chop down too many trees, then the temperature starts going up if you're polluting the world. The water can get
Oh,
polluted. The
interesting.
the the plants start dying. So you have to manage both as a community, but they have like governments and govern like towns turn into cities and you have currency and currency exchanges and it's like insane. If you guys are into any of that stuff, highly suggest you check out Eco. And there's another Star Citizen sometimes content creator that runs an awesome server called Dad Speed. It is
That sounds cool.
incredible. Yeah,
It's the kind of game that like I don't particularly like that many like RTS kinds of games. Even
yeah.
though I played SimCity as a kid, I feel like those kinds of games have not stayed with me as much as but I like the
Gotta
concept
try
of a lot
Manor
of
Lords.
them. I
Gotta
like
try Manor Lords.
hearing about that. Like it sounds
Oh yeah.
cool. I think for me, some games that have really gotten me excited about what is like video gaming, like what is
Mhm.
playing a video game. I think about Vampire Survivors.
Oh, I love that game.
Vampire
And every game like
Survivors,
it. They're so addicting.
yes. If anyone in the chat's never played Vampire Survivors, I like to
You're
say
missing out.
it is the best single joystick video game since like Pac-Man. Because all you do is walk up, down, left, right, and diagonals if you want. And automatically your character has attacks. And all you do is choose what upgrades in a roguelike style. Because I love roguelike games and I love retro games. And I love when a retro styled game uses new technology to make, for me, what would have been the best Super Nintendo game of all time. But it couldn't have been out on the Super NES. It wouldn't be able to handle the pixels or the actions on screen or whatever. So I
Was
love
Vampire Survivors the first?
I don't think it was the first game like that.
Yeah, like who was the
I'm
first? Because
sure
for me, Vampire
someone
Survivors was the first.
I'm sure someone did a similar type game. But what I like about them is that when that game first launched, like there was no animation. Your character was just a static like PNG that floated around the
Yeah.
screen. And then as it got played by a lot of big streamers and a lot of other people in the community, it got more development, it got better,
Yep.
it got more and more updates. And now it's just a really, really cool game for many, many reasons. And if I'm going to add another thing, we all talk about how innovation breeds like iteration, or the same way around, iteration breeds innovation. Megabonk.
I never
Megabonk,
played it,
dude,
but it looked awesome. Yeah.
Megabonk is what if Vampire Survivors was a third person game where
Yep.
you were right behind your character walking around and doing everything in the same way. It's like a
Yep.
love letter to Vampire Survivors and it's so fun. I've been playing it a lot lately. It's beautiful. It's very similar again. I gotta say these ones in the chat. Risk of Rain 1 was one of the first PC games I fell in love with when I was playing retro games in 2014, 2015. And then
I have to look it up. I don't know this one.
Risk of Rain 1 is a side scroller roguelike game where you pick
Okay.
you pick many different characters who have like 3 attacks and they're on timers, and you get items that multiply and make your character better and better and better. And the longer you play, the harder it gets, just like Vampire Survivors. So they took Risk of Rain 1 and then like 7, 8 years later made Risk of Rain 2 a full first person shooter game
Yeah.
where you're in that world with all the elements. And for me, it was a Mario to Mario 64 situation
Got it.
where I was like,
Got
wait
it.
a minute, here's all the assets that I love from this other game now put into a technically third person, more like a Fortnite kind of vibe. It's beautiful. Like,
It looks good. I was just looking at the Steam page.
I love it. It's a really, really good game. Sad news of Risk of Rain is that the company sold. Like, the devs who made Risk of Rain, I believe they were called Hippo Games. Hippo Games sold to the Borderlands company or whatever, Border Box. I forget what company that is, but they bought Gearbox. Thank you. Gearbox bought them out. They put an update out that people did not like, but they put another update out that is doing well. So hopefully they are like continuing the legacy, but it's one of those things when like a game dev changes hands, how does the property continue and can it continue? We've all seen Halo iteration after iteration not be what it was
Yeah.
for similar reasons.
City Skylines 2 just switched developers too. We'll see what happens there. That is like the city builder right now, and it did not have a good time. And they're trying something new, but
Do you think there'll be fishing ever in Star Citizen?
yes.
Alien fish off our aquatic
Yeah.
ships? I mean, the 400i has got to be meant to go in the water. The 890 jump
Yeah.
has to be made to go in water, right? Like,
Yeah, but what will it be a tractor beam?
everything's a
to be,
tractor
right?
beam. Everything's a tractor beam.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's just it's too important for an MMO.
All right. Well, Mike, is there anything burning deep inside that you want to say to my audience or a question that you have for me? Because I asked you a bunch of questions today. I'm wondering if you have any.
What was your first impression of me? It's usually not good.
It was someone in my chat when I got into Star Citizen in the very beginning and I was trying it. I think someone was like, I think I was complaining about something. And they were, I was complaining about something in like, you know, patch 3.7 or 3.6 or something. And they said, Salty Mike said something about this as well. Here's his video. It was like someone like giving me like a YouTube video of yours in the chat.
Oh, I thought they were gonna say stop being like me.
No,
You're being
no,
annoying.
no. It was like
Okay.
here's this guy's video, and then I do remember someone in my chat calling me like Salty Prize when I was being really negative about something, and I knew that they were referencing you.
That's funny.
So there you go.
A lot of people go, I did not like you, but then I understood. Like the people first come to the game and they're like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever. Why does this guy hate it so much?
Yeah.
It's like, he doesn't hate it. He actually probably loves it more than you do. And that's the problem. But yeah, that was one thing. Like not just you, your chat and stuff too. I'd be curious what people first thought of me, what they think now, those kind of things. But I don't know.
I like this. We don't hate the game. We've just been disappointed too many times.
Yeah.
That's relatable.
I just want it to be the best it can be. So like obvious bonehead mistakes or prioritizing things that, you know, I think aren't important is going to bother me. I mean, what do you want me to do? Not say it bothers me, pretend it doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't do that. So Sorry.
I mean, I understand that completely. Cool. All right. Well,
Yeah, of
Mike, thanks for coming on the channel with me to chat.
course.
This has been really fun. Um, I hope we can do it again sometime
Anytime.
because this was great. And
Yeah.
I think you and I have a lot of similar feelings towards this game and the
Yeah.
development of it, but we have slightly different ways of like showcasing that knowledge and framing that energy that I think is a nice contrast. I think. What do you think,
Sure.
chat? What do you think, huh? What do we call this podcast too? We cannot call it Salty Prize. That sounds terrible. Um,
Mm,
Mike Prize is also weird. We
sweet and salty or
we're
something.
yeah, we're gonna need something. You guys work on it, right? You guys workshop it. We'll get back to you on that. But I think that's a really good place for us to button this up. So
Yeah, I had some wife
everybody,
aggro. She was like, "Are you gonna eat? What's going on?"
so everybody, go follow Mike. It's Salty Mike. Google it, and you can click their name right now to follow them. But you're already following them, so follow me. I'm on all the platforms. Enterprise. When you look my name up now, AI is suggesting a version of me, which is creepy. Like
Whoa, okay.
the Google AI now brings up me as like how to set your joystick up in a weird way. Someone was telling me about that today. So the AI are coming for me, I guess.
Uh-oh.
We'll see what happens. Okay. Thank you very much, Mike, for being a part of the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time. Later, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.